How can a continent so rich stay so poor? Before we talk about poverty, let's ask, who controls the wealth? And why does so little reach the people? In 1961, Kwame Nkrumah stood before the Organization of African Unity and uttered a sentence that would echo through history. We have in Africa the paradox of poverty amid plenty. 60 years later, that paradox remains. Only now, it's grown sharper. Africa is a continent of vast wealth, 60% of the world's arable land, oceans of oil, vaults of gold and cobalt, and the youngest population on Earth. And yet, Africa is also home to over 70% of the world's extreme poor. In 1990, just 1 in 10 people living in extreme poverty were African. Today, that number has ballooned to 7 in 10. More than 490 million Africans survive on less than $2.15 a day. And since 2020, a wave of global shocks, COVID-19, the war in Ukraine, and climate disasters has pushed 55 million more into poverty. Meanwhile, a new elite has risen. According to Oxfam, just 4 men now hold more wealth than half of Africa's 1.5 billion people combined. Africa's richest 1% now control over a third of the continent's total wealth. The bottom half own barely a fraction. And it's not by accident. The rich benefit from tax breaks, elite protection, and global financial systems that hide and grow their wealth. Meanwhile, the poor pay more in relative terms through taxes on food, water, and daily survival. In Nigeria, over 18 million children are out of school. In Uganda, teachers go months without pay. In the Sahel, hospitals lack basic medicine. And in informal markets across Africa, women traders pay a higher share of their income in taxes than multinational corporations. Africa's inequality crisis isn't just the result of national neglect. It is structural, international, and deeply political. Today, over half of African countries are at high risk of debt distress. On average, governments spend 54% of their national revenue on debt repayment, leaving little for schools, clinics, or roads. International financial institutions have long pushed austerity policies that choke social investment. Corporations extract resources without paying their share. And neo-colonial trade systems still trap Africa in the role of raw material exporter, borrowing in foreign currency, repaying with interest, and bleeding wealth through the cracks. Africa's tax-to-GDP ratio is the lowest in the world, just 16%. Over half of that comes from indirect taxes like VAT, regressive by design. The poor pay more, the rich evade more. Each year, Africa loses nearly $89 billion through illicit financial flows. That's more than it receives in aid, more than enough to change everything. And yet, when we talk about inequality, we focus on poverty, not on the engineered concentration of wealth, not on the power structures that allow it. Solving inequality is not about charity. It's about justice. It's about fair taxation, dismantling privilege, and holding power accountable. As the African Union commits to reducing inequality by 15% under Agenda 2063, the path forward is clear. What's missing is not solutions. It's political will. If inequality is engineered, then it can be dismantled. But that requires more than outrage. It demands action, reform, and justice in the systems that shape our lives. And there is no system more capable of changing the course of inequality than taxation. Taxation that doesn't punish poverty, but redistributes power. Join us as we break down how fair taxation can fund futures, lift communities, and finally begin to turn the tide on inequality in Africa. Inequality is stealing Africa's future. In part 2, we'll uncover the solutions that can't wait. Subscribe so you don't miss it.